I have the Bosch hmv5053u microwave oven. We had it for almost 2 years with no problems. Then about 3 months ago the microwave stopped working. Looked like no power. I traced it to a blown 20A fuse on one of the circuit boards. That worked for about a month, then it happened again. Same problem, same fix. That lasted 2 weeks, then it happened again. Same fix. That lasted 1 day, then fuse blew again. Seems like the fuse doesn't blow when the microwave is in use, but seems to blow after use, maybe when the door is closed. We usually notice after we use it and look up, see the clock is dead. Any ideas on next steps to look at would be appreciated.
How long has this been going on with your Bosch microwave? What have you tried so far?
As I mentioned, the first fuse blew about 3 months ago. It's happened 3 times since. I just replaced the fuse last night. We used the microwave this morning. It was fine. Around 2 p.m. today the microwave was dead again.
Anything else we should know to help you best?
No, it would be helpful to know if others are experiencing a similar issue and what the fix is without buying another $500 microwave oven. Unfortunately, this is an above the cooktop model and is a pain to take down each time to replace the fuse.
Greetings, my name is I am here to assist with your appliance issues. I am sorry to hear you are experiencing issues with your microwave. This can be troubling, I know. Before digging too deep, are you replacing the fuse with a 20A microwave fuse or using standard glass fuses?
No, have replacement with an Eaton Bussmann 20A microwave fuse that I got at Home Depot. Actually, the first time I replaced it with a 15A microwave fuse. Then installed a 20A microwave fuse the last 2 times. All told, the 4 fuses have blown in the past 3 months.
Okay, good. So many people go out and replace with a glass fuse and those don't work properly in a microwave. So the fuse is being blown due to a component that is failing. To determine which component, you will need a multimeter. Do you happen to have one? Note, phone offers are automated, feel free to disregard.
I am an electrical engineer with many years on the bench, so have DMM, oscilloscopes, etc. at home.
Excellent. Let me pull up your exact model, one moment. I would start with testing the noise filter. This is the small board that holds the fuse. Check for continuity across the board. It should only have continuity one direction. That is the most common problem I have run into with a situation like that. If the noise filter tests good, then we can move on to testing other components. Side question, do you notice any issues with opening or closing the door? Or running when it isn't supposed to?
Okay. I assume there's a diode of some other element forcing current one direction. BTW, I just reinstalled the microwave about the cooktop last night, after replacing the fuse for the 3rd time, so I need to get some help to take it back down, then take out the 15 screws or so.
I totally understand. I will post information about testing the other potential components, so whenever you have a chance to dig into it, you have the needed information. You can also come back and ask follow-up questions.
No, it seems to run fine on its own. The door doesn't seem to have any problem. I think it's a little noisy for a microwave, but I think that's just the design. It worked that way since we got it. So nothing seems out of the ordinary. This morning it was working fine. The fuse never blows when the microwave is in use, but seems to blow sometime afterward, when we're not looking at it. I'm in the process of taking it down now.
The reason I ask is the door interlock could have a failed switch which can cause the fuse to pop. If the noise filter tests good, then I would move on to testing each switch. Some are NC and some are no. Just check for continuity when it is not pressed and then when it is pressed. Should change when it is pressed. I am stepping away to go run some errands. I will respond to any questions when I get back.
I have the unit apart. I can confirm the 20A fuse is open, again. From there I'm not sure if I'm looking at correctly. From one end of the fuse to a black wire I read 0 ohms in both directions. From the other end of the fuse to a red wire I also read 0 ohm in both directions. Okay. I'll be holding out here.
I am back, sorry for the delay. Do you have continuity between the two plugs that the white wires are connected to?
There's a white wire that is tied to a brown wire coming off the board, and a thicker white wire. The continuity between those two lines is 0 ohms in both directions.
It looks like your model does not have a built-in diode on the board, so it looks to be okay. Let's move on to testing the switches. There is 3 switches involved with the door. 2 should be no, normally open, 1 should be NC, normally closed. Test each switch to ensure they open and close properly. If you need more clarification, please let me know.
This is the board I'm looking at. Customer attachment January 11, 2021 12:18 and 16 seconds AM. How do I test the switches? Where is the connection for them? Customer attachment January 11, 2021 12:35 and 6 seconds AM. I've never taken the front panel off before. I just did that and I see a rolled up paper at the bottom that is a microwave oven tech sheet. It mentions 3 switches. A primary interlock switch, a door sensing interlock, and a monitor interlock, and shows a diagram of switch locations for door open and door closed. For door open, primary is open, door sensing is open, and monitor interlock is closed. For door closed, the primary is closed, the door sensing is closed, and the monitor interlock is open. The diagram shows L on one side of the switches and N on the other. Does that refer to line and neutral? Just reviewing this sheet now. BTW. That's not what I measured. That's what the tech sheet says. I haven't figured out what the wires are. I'm still trying to locate where this stuff is and reading through the tech sheet.
Just remove the connector off one switch at a time. Test for continuity with the door closed. And then with the door open.
Okay. So I took a look at each of the 3 switches there. I have sharp dental picks and I'm sticking them into the connector by the wires and connecting that to my ohm meter. The topmost and bottommost switches read 0 ohm when the door is closed, and read open when the door is open. The middle switch reads the opposite. It reads open when the door is closed, and reads closed when the door is open. Assuming the middle switch is the monitor interlock switch, then that agrees with the diagram on the tech sheet, which indicates the switches are okay as measured. However, is it possible one of the switches gets sticky sometimes, and does that cause the blown fuse? I'm guessing the fuse usually blows following use of the microwave when the door is open to remove the heated food and then blows when the door is closed. It just seems that way because the fuse never has blown when we initiate a heating session. It only happens after we use it. Then we look up later and notice that the microwave looks totally dead. Is there a combination non-normal switch positions that would blow the fuse?
So if one of the switches get pressed before or after the others, the fan, light, and generally turntable motor attempt to run. This alone shouldn't cause the issue. It is possible one is sticking, the only way is to try pressing it a few times. I would move on to testing the magnetron and the transformer. Here is a video covering the process of testing the transformer. https://u2.b/g49sa_mchb_u. The magnetron, you check ohms between the terminals. Should be around 0.3. If that is close, then check each side of the terminal to the case for ground. If you get continuity to ground, the magnetron is bad.
Okay. So when I measure across the primary transformer leads, I see 0.3 ohms. For the high voltage winding, there was no white terminal, but there was a black plastic block coming from the transformer. I pushed my lead to a metal spot there and put my other ohm meter probe to ground and measured 104 ohms. I assumed that was right. Probing across the magneton leads is basically 0 ohms, and it is not shorted to chassis ground. So those all seem to be okay. I also checked continuity to ground on the primary winding. That was okay, open, as well.
That all sounds nominal. I am leaning towards the switches, but let's check the fan and the turntable motor. I have never personally seen one of those kill the fuse, but you never know. Ohm out both items and compare to the reading on the tech sheet provided. If they are within tolerance, you must have an issue with the interlocks. Well, that or a control board issue. But I wouldn't go down that rabbit hole until you replace switches, as the board is much more expensive.
Agree. The fact that the other 3 times I swapped out fuses, everything powered up okay and worked okay for at least several microwave cycles tells me we're dealing with an intermittent problem. The switches are the only thing actively moving each cycle. Not 100% for sure, but a good bet. So far I looked at the fan and it measured 24 ohms. I didn't disconnect the wire but just probed the blue and white wires with my dental picks. I assume that's okay with such a low impedance. I haven't gotten to the turntable motor. Still trying to figure out how to probe it.
That sounds fine for the fan. Look for the wires coming from underneath and you should see where they connect near the control board. Just disconnect one side and ohm through the wires, easier than accessing in most cases, and the wire only adds negligible resistance.
There's a wire harness coming from underneath the microwave that contains 2 white wires, 2 yellow wires, a red wire and a black wire. It then combines with other wires in a bigger spaghetti mess before going to the control board. You wouldn't happen to know which of the connectors on the board I should pull to ohm out the turntable motor?
I do not. Unfortunately, I do not have a wiring diagram on this particular model.
Okay, so I just tipped the whole microwave on its side, removed 4 more screws on the bottom and got directly to the turntable motor and unhooked the leads. And it reads 3.27 ohm. So it's okay as well.
Here are the part numbers you may possibly need. You should be able to find them for less than $10/EA online at a variety of retailers. Microwave door interlock switch 00617228x2 microwave/hood switch 00617229.
Okay. That's the next logical thing to do. I will order them and try replacing them and see what happens. Thanks for your help. Hey, one more thing. There is a cardboard/plastic sort of square cover inside the microwave oven cavity area that covers the feed from the magnetron. The tabs on it ripped off when I was trying to take it off to see what was underneath. You wouldn't happen to know the part number of that piece so I can also order new one, would you? Never mind. I found it. I'll order those parts and see how it goes. Thanks for your help.
Apologies, I had already signed off for the evening. The part hash in case you still need it is manufacturer part number 00617211.
Thanks. I already got it. All 3 switches are on order. Hopefully about them tomorrow. We'll see if that fixes it.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/ythi.